Welcome to the Myopia podcast, where we give you the latest myopia research, clinical topics, and industry insights. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all awesome myopia content. And now to our host, a massive myopia manager himself, Dr. David Kading.
Well, thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Myopia podcast. I'm stoked to have Joelle Holland on with me. I originally met you because you practice with one of my really, really good friends, Gina Wesley in Minnesota. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your optometry world and your family world and get everybody up to speed in case they haven't had the pleasure.
Perfect. Two of my favorite things to talk about. So, yes, you are right. I live in Minnesota. I have three beautiful children who are actually with me here today, just in a house off campus here, 5, 3, and 1 years old. I am married to Zach Holland, who is also a fellow optometrist, a competitor, some could say, but I still like him. So,
how far away are your practices from each other?
About 10 miles.
Yeah.
Not far, but far enough that we don't compete too much, but kind of different demographics too, which has been interesting to talk about and converse with him. But yeah, he's about 10 miles away. We met in optometry school, got married in 2017. The practice. So yes, I work with Dr. Gina Wesley. She hired me 8 years ago, right out of school. God bless her, and has really helped cultivate me into who I am today. I have a lot of gratitude to her and everything that she's taught me. So I've just enjoyed being in the practice, building the practice, spitting ideas off of one another, and it's just been a really organic relationship that we've created.
Did you do a residency?
I did not.
So one of the things that I have loved about Gina, and then realized it was actually your way of doing it too, is to become world class without having done a residency. I always say to people that if you do a residency, you come out 5 or 10 years ahead in that specialty of somebody who hasn't done it. But the way that you and Gina, because Gina did a program, but she's also brought in, you guys have brought in specialties into your clinic like binocular vision and especially dry eye myopia management and especially contact lenses. And I mean, we can keep going because you do so many incredible things. But is that you've developed a specialty without having been trained in it. And I think that is something that is a skill set that you can learn is like, I can become world class at this. And so I've really appreciated that about you. When in your journey did you start thinking about myopia management as something that you would want to do? Because as I recall, that was not something that Gina really was diving into before you were there.
Right. Yeah. So she definitely, she attended Supercharge with Dr. D a year or two before I joined. So she used her pillars for starting myopia control, starting dry eye, starting VT. So she had like the tips of the icebergs kind of in each category right before I started, but really dove in once I got there. And then she sent me to Vision by Design, Dr. D's Supercharge, solo, like 6 months after I joined. And she was like, go learn because this is what I believe in. And so I went and learned, and that was really the pivotal moment of me being like, whoa, like this is wild. Like I didn't really learn much about this in school, but Dr. D's whole thing was like heart and passion and like care about what you do and be happy while you're doing it. And like, I just got out of school. Zach and I had $600,000 in student loan debt. Like I was like happy. Like, I don't really know that yet. So we're just
kind of money.
Yeah, we're just like treading here. Like I'm just trying to not drown. But Gina really showed me, opened that door for me, which I'm so grateful for her that she did that, opened that door for me to learn and then digest, and then gave me the freedom to like change it still, like be a part of like the program and like building it and changing it, spitting ideas off of her. So that was really cool to like have a leader that gave me the space for my wings to like open, but then also the guidance and the criticism that I think was so important to be like, No.
Yeah.
Or
So in a specialty, 7 years is a pretty young specialty practice. So tell me where it was when you got done with Supercharge, and you guys were doing a little bit, and then where you are today with your myopia management practice. Like, what has changed in 7 years?
So I think we were probably around, I would guess, maybe 20 to 25 patients under the myopia management wing, which was essentially Ortho-K with her at that time. When I joined, we now have probably just south of 120, 130. So I've gained about 100 patients in 7 years. And they have been very organic, word of mouth organic. But we've grown a lot within building the protocols, building what we want it to look like. How does the experience feel? Like at that time, she had some of the framework of like what the protocols are going to be. How do they get from point A to point B throughout the year? But they weren't, I don't want to say they weren't special, but they weren't like magical like they are now.
Yeah. So to give us all a perspective, if you charge somewhere between $100,000 and $1,000 and $3,000 for myopia management a year, when you get to 100 patients, it's really easy math. You're like $100,000 to $300,000 in revenue that's coming in for myopia management, which, depending on the size of your practice, could be 10 to 20% of the total revenue. When we think about one group of patients, of 100 patients being 10 to 30% of your revenue, that's a pretty substantial thing. And so it opens doors to you really enjoying these patients at a different level. And as with anything that comes out of your practices that you guys build, there's always these like key nuggets that I love. And you guys treat your patients, those 120 patients, very differently. So talk through a little bit of the experience that they have being a myopia management patient in your practice.
Yeah. So I think this really started to like flourish maybe within the last 5 years. It could have been, I became a mom myself, and I was really skeptical about every doctor that my kids came in contact with. And I was just like, gosh, like, should I be trusting them? What's this experience like? I know what I give my patients. And I really like took a hard look on like, how am I talking to these patients? Like, am I truthful? Am I honest? Do I really care about them? Because I feel like I can sniff it out when other doctors don't care for my kid the way that I care for their kid. And so I really sat back and like almost like meditated on that for a while to be like, how can I really get it across that I truly care about why I'm doing this with these kids? And a lot of that was reward. Like I felt like these kids just they're working really hard. They needed some sort of like reward to be like, I am doing this and I'm doing this well. And so a couple little tidbits that we do at the 1 month, which is typically our like finalization. So once the lens is set, we finalize the lenses. They know how to do it. They're in, they're out. They can do everything. We know that the topographies look good, all the things. We present them with a $25 Amazon gift card. And we present that right in front of the parent. And I verbally look at the mom and the dad and I say, this is for you, Johnny. Like, you have done just a stellar job of working so hard to get these lenses in and out, listening to every bit of stuff we had to do. I know there was a lot of like angst and there was a lot of tears at sometimes and whatever it was, but this is for you. And so that's like the smallest little one that we do. We give a little card to be like, this is for you. And I feel like the kids are like, oh, I get to spend my own money and I get to do all these things by myself. And like the moms are like, oh, okay. Like, they're kind of like, I don't know. But just that token of like, I believed in you. I knew you could do this. And here's like one little tiny token is like the first little tidbit that we probably in our program that we give them.
So you probably make up that small $25 in charging the patient something somewhere. It's just $25 less profit that you make. But usually the dollar amounts that we're making for myopia management are equivalent or higher than we make in our other areas of our practice. So that's probably okay. And if anybody has a problem with that, just charge your patients $25 more, and you're fine, right? But it doesn't end there.
No.
You go beyond that. So
Kinda
keep
goes beyond
going.
that.
Yeah.
So in the consultation, in the dispense, we have trained our staff members that do the dispense and the INRs and all that. We have trained them to be very vigilant on like listening to what these kids like and probing questions of what they're doing at home, hockey, skiing, like whatever it is, like and I do it too in the consultation, but maybe I don't get as deep because I'm not talking with them for 30 minutes on end or during their, so I'm constantly training our staff to be like, listen. And if you hear anything, you let me know, you send me a task, you send me a note on like what they like to do. So 2 examples of this. One, we had he was probably 8-year-old little boy, just almost terrified of doing this. Like just, he wanted to do it, but his body was not letting him do it. And I know you've had patients like that, and they're just kind of anxiety driven, and just, it was really tough. So Sana met with them maybe 3 times for an INR and was just like, I am struggling. I don't know really what to do. So she started talking, and he's really analytical. He loved Legos. And so we were like, okay. So like he was talking about that. Okay, think about this, like building a Lego set. You know, we got to start here. We got to do this. We got to do this. And then I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. So we met with the kid in the room, and we were talking more about Legos. I'm trying to decipher like Star Wars Legos or like dinosaur Legos or like, what is he like, kind of getting more into that. He finally got through the INR successfully. And as he came back, I bought, probably a week before that, I bought like this 50, who knew Legos were so expensive?
Yeah, they are. I know.
They're like little pieces of plastic. They're very expensive.
Yes.
But in the grand scheme of what we charge, and
Right.
I knew this kid. He was a level 3 anyways. He like we have leveling systems. Like I knew this was going to take time. That's why I have levels the way that we do. So he finally, I think it was on the 3rd or 4th INR, he finally did it. And I had saved this darn Lego set for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And it was sitting on a chair on the outside. When he left the INR room, it was like literally sitting there. And he was like, I got goosebumps. He just literally was like so excited. But it was the mom's face that she didn't know about it either. And when she looked at me, like you could just tell. It was like mom to mom, like, I got your kid. Like I got, like, I'm going to be here. And that token of like being like, I'm going to take care of this kid. Now she's going to know that. Now that next family that she's going to talk to is going to know that. Like they're all going to know. It's not the Legos. Like it's not the thing, but it's truly like I cared. I went to Target on my lunch, whatever, you know, I went and bought the thing, and we listened, and that mom was like forever grateful. And from that moment on, he was like, boom, like this is awesome.
Yeah. So I'm certain you probably have countless stories of many children that are like this. What are some of the other things, and I know there's more because I've heard others, that you have found out about them that you totally surprised them with? What are some other examples?
So this was the most recent one. Most recently, I had he's now 14. I fit him, I think he was 10 when he started. Rock star, like total, like in, out, no problem for years. And then all of a sudden his mom's coming to me, and she in her eye exam, and was like, I can't get him to put him in. Like, it's just like his puberty change, whatever it is. He's like moody, doesn't want to do it. He's not sleeping well, doesn't want to put him in. And she's like, I'm frustrated because I know he can't see. I can't see during the day. And I'm having to like dog on him every 5 minutes to put the lenses in at night and whatever. I'm like, okay. So we started talking, and I was like, what does he do again? Like, and he plays baseball, and I knew that. And I knew that's like his one thing where I feel like he actually does like release a little bit, and like he's away from all of his like prepubescent like life, whatever. So I had him come in for a CRT consultation, or excuse me, a CRT follow-up. So just a normal, probably 6-month follow-up in his program. And I looked at him, I was like, I can see on the topographies, which sometimes you can't, but I was like, I can see on the topographies you're not wearing your lenses that often, because he wouldn't tell me that he wasn't wearing his lenses. I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing that they're not wearing them as often. Is everything like He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I just don't, like, I forget, I stay up late, I forget, I don't want to put him in. I'm like, okay, well, you really got to start doing this. And he's like, okay. And his mom is sitting, no, she wasn't in the room at that time. She was waiting out. Strategically, I had her wait out there. So then he looks, we're talking, and I was like, you like baseball, right? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, what team? I was like, you a Twins fan? Because we're in Minnesota. He goes, Twins fan? He's like, no. And I was like, oh, what team do you like? He goes, Brewers. I was like, huh. And I knew this. I knew he was a Brewers fan because I talked to his mom already. The Brewers were in town 5 weeks from the day of that exam. And I was like, all right. I was like, this is going to take some time on my side, because I am going to text your mom every Friday night and ask her, did you put your lenses in the whole 7 days prior to this? And if every Friday night for the next 5 Fridays you put your lenses in. I'm going to have you come in the Friday before that game, and we're going to buy tickets to the Brewers game. And he's like, and then I actually had purchased a Brewers hat in preparation of this moment, and which, silly me, the hockey flow hair would not accept the Brewers hat to go on top of it. Only knowing that because of the photos I received after the fact, and he wasn't wearing it. But he was very gracious for me getting. But I said, I pulled out the Brewers hat, and I said, I know, because he told me, he goes, Brewers. And I go, oh, weird. I was like, when do they play? So then I pulled out the hat, and I had already knew he liked the Brewers. He goes, oh, how'd you know that? And then I go, because I believe in you, and I know that you can wear these lenses, and this is something that matters. It matters to you, it matters to your mom, it matters to me, and I know you can do this. So for the next 5 weeks, I want you to wear them. And then we bought the tickets, and he went to the game, and it was super cool. That is why I do what I do.
Yeah. So you started this whole conversation kind of saying that you didn't really understand at first, you just need to get that huge debt down.
Yeah.
And now that I'm sure you guys have been whittling away at that, it's kind of like this, hey, that's incredible in such a short time.
Yeah, 300,000.
Yeah. Wow.
$660,000 in 56 months.
Wow. Mm-hmm. You guys are crushing it. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So but now it's the satisfaction in what you do. And presumably these are some of the favorite patients that you have, and you're able to connect with them.
Yes.
And because you are able to bring the value to them, thus it costs more money, you're able to spend more time with those patients and connect with them in an incredible way. And that's the beauty of myopia management, right?
Yeah, you couldn't have convinced me in school or whenever you're learning to fit a lens that you would feel so warm and fuzzy after you ran a topographer. So, there's no way. But the way it's organically built up now, it's what Dr. D said this morning. He's I just want to have fun every day. I want to have fun. I want to have fun seeing these patients. Not every day is fun, but when I get to make these connections with these patients, I know that kid is going to remember meet somebody that believed in him, somebody that cared, somebody that saw his potential when maybe everyone else is just oh, he's just a moody 14-year-old, no one cares, so being that voice, being that is so much more than I think I ever thought myopia management was going to be, and what an ortho K lens could do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it brings the human side to myopia management.
Yes.
Sometimes in our podcast, we're talking about topographies, and we're talking about lens designs and lens fits and so forth. So I love this. This is great, and it just brings this other perspective. We have other people that have been on the podcast who give their patients tickets they wear their lenses, they get a ticket, they wear the practices T-shirt into the office, into school that day. They get these tickets, and then they can build up, and then they can spend the tickets on kind of like they would at an arcade.
Yes.
And those types of little things just make myopia management more fun for not just the purpose of slowing the progression of myopia, but it's something I get to do, and I enjoy the practice. And so I love that you guys do that. I always get tidbits from out of your practices whenever I talk to you guys about it. So, well, this is awesome. Any last little tidbits that you have that you want to share before I let you go? Yeah,
I just really think, whoever's out there listening, whether they've done it for 1,000,000 years or they've done it for one day, I just really think that this subspecialty of optometry is truly where it's at. I think that it gives me the money, the freedom to do what I want to do with my life. It gives me the freedom to work 3 days a week. It gives me the freedom to impact patients and parents. I'm working with 6 to 18-year-olds. it's just fun. And so I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to step into it. And even though I was always really, I don't want to say about I don't like when people are talking about this because they have 130 patients and I can't even get 5. I was there too. And it's been 8 years. Nothing changed right overnight. So it truly is. It's something that you just have to stay fired up about. Go to the conferences, get pumped up again. Every other year I've gone to Dr. D's twice. It's something that I think is just it's a pure joy to do, and I am really humbled when patients trust you and believe in you, especially with their kids. And so I encourage just to keep doing it. Keep listening to Dave's podcast about all the good things that come from it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being
Yes.
on the podcast, and thank you for listening. Be sure make sure to subscribe, and if you could like, and also if you could go to your favorite podcast source and leave us a 5-star review and leave a comment, that would be greatly appreciated. And also want to make you aware of the Myopia Workshop, which is a workshop dedicated to helping you implement myopia into your practice, solving those little things so that we can double the number of myopia patients in your practice or get you to at least 5 a month or 60 a year. Stay tuned for more from the Myopia Podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in to the Myopia Podcast. If you enjoy our content, please leave a 5-star review. And don't forget to subscribe for more great episodes.